Yeah, I put it then later on the stage. Yeah, welcome to another episode of the Data and Analytics live stream. Hot with George. He's the founder of Lights on Data, and I think also top voice and top creator on on YouTube. Sorry, it's really hot today, and I put the site here online so you can visit his webpage. And I have you are so famous on LinkedIn, so I don't can the most people think know you. You are also a part of the Data Avengers. Can you tell me a little bit about the superpowers you have on this group?
Yeah, happy to. Yeah, thanks for the introduction and thanks, for having me and for everything that you're doing with the data analytics group and how quickly it's growing. It's really inspiring.
Thank you.
The data Avengers, where we're sort of this I don't know, influential collective in the data analytics realm, and each one of us gonna have our unique voice, with in data science, data storytelling, data classification, data analysis, so forth and so on. And we're not just kind of any group where we have a lot of expertise, but a lot of friendships as well that really develop within the group. And we just want to channel the future of data with our insights and experiences, and we love having a good time while we're doing it.
Yeah, nice. I also we have next time Susan here on the live stream. So cool. Then a little bit administrative stuff. So you can get the certificate like every show. Then we also, when you like to connect each other, you can write Lion in the chat. So it means linked open network, so that people know you are open to networking. You can ask your questions in the chat. So I will collect them and do it in the Q&A session. And you're also welcome to join the meetup group. There you have a better overview of the next events. And that was the administrative part. And I put your presentation on the stage, and I go left, so you can start. And thank you so much. And I
Thank you, Mirko. Yeah, so I do want to talk to you about these three must-have artifacts that I think any data-driven organization needs to have. I'll skip over um, um, myself here, as Mirko did give a lovely introduction. So to do so, to talk about the three artifacts, I want to first talk to you about the sandwich, and you'll see how that's relevant. So, the sandwich, I think we kind of all know what a sandwich is, and you can have it for breakfast, you can have it for lunch, for dinner. It can be delicious. It's one of my favorite foods. And again, I think we can all identify what a sandwich is when we see it, right? But that begs the question, which one of these do you think is not a sandwich? The hot dog, grilled cheese sandwich, or the burrito? It's a bit of a trick question, but I will come back to this towards the end of the presentation, and you'll see why. And the reason why I'm asking this is, let's say you're a data analyst or a business intelligence programmer, really any data professional that has a project to work on that has data on sandwiches. Maybe your company wants to start selling a new sandwich on the market and wants to see if it should. Or maybe you want to develop a new marketing campaign that targets sandwich foodies. Or you were asked to develop a report that showcases your company's revenue from sandwich sales, maybe against market um, sales. And the question is, well, which data do you include? Do you include data on grilled cheese sandwiches, burritos, even hot dogs, all these different types of sandwiches? And well, it kind of depends on your company's definition of a sandwich. So let's take this one definition. This one comes from the United States Department of Agriculture, and they actually define a sandwich as a meat or poultry filling between two slices of bread, a bun, or a biscuit. The reason why I'm putting this as an example is because based on this definition, technically, a grilled cheese sandwich is not a sandwich, not according to them, not according to the USDA. And that's because the USDA only covers the labeling of meat, poultry, and egg products, whereas the Food Drug Administration, which is another administration in the US, kind of covers everything else. So if you did work for the USDA, the one on the left there, and you included data on grilled cheese sandwiches in your whatever project you're working on, you would actually end up with invalid results because of that definition. So here's my point on all these sandwiches. We all come with all these assumptions based on our life and work experience, and we bring them into our workplace without, validating them. Maybe we're kind of less likely to make wrong assumptions on what a sandwich is, but there are definitely a lot of business terms that also seem obvious what their meaning is, only to find out that's not the case. So, for example, customer. If you're going to ask two different people in your company how they define what a customer is, you're probably going to get, three different answers. These are actually answers from a workshop I ran a few years ago with a company, and that was the question. Okay, well, we need to define what a customer is for the company, and these were three of probably there were about 7 or so definitions that came out of the workshop. Yeah, it can definitely be confusing. And making assumptions on meanings of business terms such as customer, cell conversion rate, credit, GPA, you name it, is really what creates certain challenges in the workplace. And, you can imagine it can create even more challenges for AI. So, to avoid these challenges, we need to have this trusted place where business metadata is being recorded in our organization that we can refer to, because we know it's information that's been approved, it's information that's been curated, it's maintained. So then we can see what terms such as a sandwich actually means, so that then we know what data to use. But of course, we also need more business metadata than just the definition itself. We need to see if there's any synonyms, abbreviation, what is the data steward assigned to it, that we can talk to and find out more information about the data related to this term. Who's the business owner? What is the definition source, usage, classification? If there are any policies tied to it, has this been approved to be used organization wide, and really so much more. So we can find all of these things in a business glossary, which is this collection of business terms with their unique definitions and other useful related information. And that other useful related information is what you saw in those other attributes there. And those were just really a handful of attributes or business metadata that we can record in a business glossary. I've seen companies that have anywhere between 20 to 50 to even 100 attributes being recorded for a single term. Okay, so that's what a business glossary does. What about the other side? This is the business metadata. It holds the business metadata. What about the other side, the technical metadata? Well, the technical metadata for this one, let's say that we now know what a sandwich is, and because of that, we know what data sets we should include in our project. So we're looking at a data set similar to this. And this is actually a sample from a data set collected from a quick serve chain, sandwich chain. Anyways, when we're looking at this data, we need to understand what we're looking at here. We need to understand what all those different columns mean. What type of data they contain. What are some of those specifications, default values, type of keys, and so on. All this information is very useful if you need to do any ETLs, ELTs, reverse ETLs. But it's also good for you to gauge if the way the data were recorded fits the requirements of your project or not. It's a good way to understand if you need to do any data wrangling, any data munging, before that data is available to your project, maybe your machine learning project, let's say. So all of this technical metadata we can find in a data dictionary. And the data dictionary gives you the specifications about a field in a database. So a quick recap. We have the business metadata, we have the technical metadata. The business metadata is being recorded in a business glossary where we find all this useful language, business verbiage. Then we find the technical metadata in a data dictionary, which gives you the specifications about the fields in a database. The business glossary is business owned because it also holds our business verbiage, as I mentioned. It's this curated place where we can find definitions such as, what a savage is from your organization's point of view, at least. We usually have one business glossary for the entire organization. The data dictionary, on the other hand, provides a very application or technology-centric view of the data. It provides the descriptions of a data element and its metadata. And you can have many data dictionaries. Usually it's one per database. That being said, the business glossary and the data dictionary, they can be connected and they tend to reference each other. All right. So now we know these two, business glossary, data dictionary. What about the data catalog? And the best way to understand the data catalog is to look at Amazon as an example, because it carries millions of different products, and yet as consumers, I feel that we can find almost anything fairly quickly. And beyond, Amazon's advanced search capabilities, we also find a lot of useful information when you do click on that product. So as we can see this example here, we have obviously the description, all these different details, other recommended books, because we are looking at a book on grilled cheese sandwiches recipes. And because it is a book, there's a bunch of other metadata that we can find at the bottom, such as, is it a hard book, a soft book cover, how many pages it has, its dimensions, and of course the reviews at the bottom as well, which I think the reviews are very important, right? The customer reviews. We often decide if we're going to buy a product or not based on the reviews. So the data catalogs kind of work in the same way, but for our databases. And I mean, they can be used for any data stores, really. The purpose of the data catalogs is to organize the millions of our organization's data stores. And of course, we would be able to find everything that we would need and gauge its usefulness. So this is an example from data.gov. And data.gov is kind of this open data catalog from the US government. And this is a data set that we're looking at here for dietary intakes from a national survey, and contains data on sandwiches consumption as well. So just to kind of keep it on theme with the sandwiches. So similar to the Amazon, we have the description there at the top. We have privacy policies. And of course, we can download the data set as linked in here. But we also have a bunch of other metadata on it. So we can see who is the owner. We can see who's the data steward. There's also a link to the data dictionary. And sometimes you could even have reviews from other people that have used this data set. So the single point directory offers the user the ability to locate information, and it further provides the mapping between the business glossary and the data dictionaries as well. So you can see that, when you're working with data in whichever capacity, whichever role, you can really benefit from these three tools. The business glossary for your business verbiage, the data dictionary to describe your data elements, and the data catalog to help you find the data that you need and also gauge its usefulness. And I mean, depending on the implementation of the data catalog, you can also request a right to use it. And so there might be different processes tied to it. And as I mentioned before, the business glossary and the data dictionary, they kind of reference each other out. And usually information that's stored in those two artifacts, they get surfaced up into the data catalog. So back to my original question on which one of those three is not a sandwich, the hot dog, grilled cheese sandwich, or burrito. I mean, it really depends, right, based on your definition. But I'll give you, a fun fact. Mirka was asking about the LinkedIn offices and their studio, and there is one. Well, one of their main offices actually in the Empire State Building, which is in New York. I don't know if you knew that. Fun fact. But another fun fact is that in the state of New York, the burrito is considered a sandwich, and here's why: they have different types of taxes, and they have a tax for sandwiches, and they're actually taxing the burrito the same way they're taxing a sandwich. They have a sandwich tax on the burrito. So from at least a taxing perspective, the burrito is considered a sandwich. So if you're ever ordering a sandwich in New York and you're getting a burrito, now you know why. It's all about the definition. So this is a quick intro into the 3 artifacts that I think any organization should have. Please feel free to get in touch with me if you want to find out more. I also have a few courses on this topics, as well as data management, data governance overall too, and we'll love to get in touch with you as well and continue our conversation afterwards. Thank you. And I see there's a few questions that are coming up here. Hi, Mirko. Oh, I can't hear you.
Oh, damn.
There you go.
Now I hope. Yeah, it's a technical issue day. Yeah, the first I like the text. It's really good example for meaning the same. Sometimes I haven't also heard often, but I see also there's a question about this. But I start with the first question. And is there a link to data governance, data literacy, and data culture from these tools, I think?
Yeah. Different, but it's definitely a link to it. And in my opinion, data governance and data literacy, they really go hand in hand as well. And part of data literacy is to understand what data governance is as well. And data governance is really putting together all these policies, processes, understanding the roles of the individuals and what they should do, could do, and would do with the data as well. And and then the data literacy is really teaching us about all these things as well. I think a comprehensive data literacy program has at least a high level overview of all the different data management areas, as well as, how do you best interpret data, work with it, visualize it, all these kind of best practices. And I think once you have that, it's fair to say that you probably have a data culture in your organization, that you're, data informed, data driven.
Cool. The next question, I think it's more a fun question. How I get this cool Funko Pop figures of the data Avengers.
Oh yeah, we each one of us kind of have a funk CNC. There's like all of us here. This was a nice surprise that we got at a conference last year, and we haven't converted this into merchandise yet. But hey, if there's an ask for it, maybe we should.
Okay, the next question was corrected in the chat. The 3 artifacts are one tool, or they are different? They are different tools.
Yeah, a very good question, Ulrike. It depends. I think more and more I'm seeing these capabilities being combined in one tool. So depending on the vendor, they might offer both capabilities, like a business glossary and a data dictionary, or even all 3. Some data catalogs might have sort of add-ons or features that are embedded within it. So they are treated from a future perspective, they're treated as 3 different ones, but you could find them as part of the same product. Yeah.
Okay. I often think the people often think too often in this kind of in tools. They have more to think in what's a good solution for the company or for the people. I think
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, that's a very good point. And also, I wanted people to understand the distinctions in terms of what these tools are supposed to do, because depending on the vendor, they might sometimes use them as a synonym, but then they might not offer future features that are related to that. So they might say that, oh, it's a data dictionary when it's actually a business glossary, and maybe the other way around. So understanding all the features that you should have at your disposal, I think it's very good to be aware of when you're evaluating a product and see, does that fit my needs? Do I need something for my ETL needs, or reporting, or something to have as a reference for my metadata? Yeah.
I think I don't know if it's the right name, Octopi or something, and they
Mm.
have done. It's really cool. They have split it for the target group, like stakeholder, and they're getting more information in this, and more technical stuff, IT and so on, and data analysts get other informations about the data set. So I like
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
idea
Yeah.
they have created. So, and the next
And
question:
and they
how
also
should
have the data lineage as well. And I mean,
yeah,
that's another type of capability.
how should handle the data catalog?
With care. I mean, okay, here's one main mistake that I think a lot of organizations are doing when they're implementing a data catalog, and that is, one of the great things about it is that it has a bunch of automation that it can scour and crawl through all of your different data sources and index them. And that's a great capability to have, to first understand what type of data do I have, and then based on how you're configuring it, to understand, this is public data, this is private sensitive, or PII data. And that's very good off the bat. The problem then is, once you make this available for consumption, so certain data catalogs, they have kind of like a marketplace similar to Amazon, where as a data consumer you can go in on this intranet website, accessing the data catalog, and you can see all the different data sets, tables, or um, amalgamations of these data sets together. And where companies, I feel they are starting to make mistakes, is that they make everything available for consumption without going through the data quality rules, and without describing them properly. And so when you have access to everything that is not curated, that's not stewarded, you start losing confidence in the tool and whatever that central data office is providing through the data catalog. And you start to create your own shadow databases, and you start to do your own things and not rely on the data catalog anymore. So my recommendation would be that when you're making things available for consumption through the data catalog, is to go through like a data stewardship process, that it's information that's being curated, it's being maintained by somebody, so that once it's put there, it's trusted as a data consumer. Yeah.
Cool. And the last questions. Okay, I think it's mean. Can the owner of data, the different person to the data steward?
They can be, yeah. It really depends on how you're structuring things within your data governance program. And I've seen at times that there's no distinction. And at other times, yeah, there is. Actually, this is like a culturally difference as well that I've noticed between Europe and the US. So, for example, in Europe, for certain types of data, an organization would consider the let's say your client, your consumer, let's say you're Amazon and you're selling products, and you need to um, create your account in order to purchase from Amazon, right? So you give your personal details, your credit card information, all that stuff. Within Europe, they're considering that, okay, that client, that customer is the one that owns their data, and we are just stewarding it for them. We're taking care of it. We're making sure that it's safe, secure, and all that stuff. In the US, it's a little bit different, and they're saying, okay, well, you're giving us that data, we own it now. We are the owners of it, and also we have people that are stewarding it as well.
Yeah, that was the last question, but I also have some questions, and I'm can really understand what you mean with the different culture of data stewardship, and I found this topic really interesting. And we have often in Europe, or especially in Germany, we have, so it's like a bad job to doing the stewardship, because all the people think on, I don't know, fly attendees or something. uh, but I think it's so important topic, and how can we promote this topic to the people, that they say it's a cool job.
Yeah, I mean, more and more, I think we need to put content out there, and things that you do, Mirko, with your podcast, and promoting the knowledge, and making it seem cool and exciting. And um, I think we all need to do our part, and especially those that are in the role, to go out there and present, and try and get more people to understand why it's good to be in their shoes, because I do think it's not only valuable roles, but very exciting roles to be in.
And on the what I also find interesting, it's this data lineage process. Can you explain it a little bit more? I often see, okay, we have a starting point. I can say we have, in my last company, we have some words. I've also read in the chat some good example. It's called lead, and
Mhm.
people in all departments, they say it's a different what's lead. And then we have to, I don't know, to clarify the word, to what the thing lead. And then we have this transformation, what's happened to the report. And this is
Right.
very interesting in in, I don't know, in this process. But I think it's also be the wording to find and speak the same. I think it can help to speak the same language in a
Yeah.
company.
Yeah,
Oh, this is
definitely.
my cam. She has
And
really problems today. I try.
no
But yeah,
worries. You have a very professional camera there. Looks good. But I can tell you a little bit about the data lineage from my point of view. It kind of refers to the process of tracking the flow of data through its life cycle, right, from the source all the way to its destination. And just kind of that final endpoint where the data is used, or in some cases archived or destroyed. And in between, there's kind of like four things to keep track of. So one is the data movement, so any transfer of data between systems or processes. Then you have that data transformation that you're mentioning as well, and it could be any changes or manipulations applied to data. There's like the data cleaning, aggregation, enrichment. Then you also have the data storage, the location where the data is stored, data warehouse, data lakehouse, data lake, databases. And then the data usage that's kind of the final application of data. And that could be for reporting, analysis, machine learning, or maybe other business processes.
so
Yeah.
then look at the chat. We have three. Let me have a look. Okay. First one, my name. I get started into data analysis and advice on basic skill that I should develop to could me help in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for the question. It really depends what where you are as a starting point. If I would say you're fresh, zero level skill, or however you want to put it, you can even start with Excel or like a spreadsheet tool to kind of get a feel for that data manipulation and how you're working with it. But then I feel it's very important to upskill it by understanding SQL. I think that's maybe one of the basic tools that you need to get on. For analytics itself, I think Python or R or both It's those are great skills to understand, and of course to kind of complement with your data visualization, data storytelling skills, and using tools like Tableau, or Python also has a bunch of visualization libraries that you get into it. And overall, I think, yeah, that communication skill is very important, and of course critical thinking, and also understanding that the business acumen, that's always important. Oftentimes data analysts, they go within a specific role without understanding the business behind it, and I feel the context can bring a lot of advantages to the role if you have it.
Yeah, I can understand that it's a good advice, I think. And yeah, then the last question from me is, what did you do with light on data?
With lights on data, I mean, as the name says, I try to put the lights on data, and I do that through online courses, online videos, speaking engagements, and I do put a lot of content out there as well to try and educate people about the importance of data and how we can best work with it to make sure that it's treated as the asset that it is.
Yeah, and then you say you next time in London, so the people can meet you there.
Yeah, I hope to see everybody at the Big Data London in September. I'll be having a talk there, a presentation.
Yeah, then yeah, I'm thank you for the presentation. Yeah, I have had technical issues today, and yeah, I think the people should look at your LinkedIn profile and on your website, Lights and Dark Data. And yeah, for all the people that attend, don't forget to grab your certification. And yeah, we are staying in contact. And I say thank you so much. And
Thank you as
yeah,
well.
bye to all.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.